The darkness prevents us from having control over what is around us. It terrifies many of us because our worst nightmares are hidden in it. Shadows move and we cannot distinguish until they are too close. It is a perfect costume for countless situations. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Leonore. She had brown hair and light eyes. She loved to read and draw, but she didn't have many friends. It is not that she wasn't sociable, but her mother worked as a restorer, so her love for old houses pushed her family to lead a nomadic life, and this meant always changing schools. At first, Leonore was horrified by most of the buildings they had lived in. They were all worthy of appearing in a horror movie, but over time she had no choice but to adapt. One hot summer day, Leonore and her mother moved into a new rundown house. It was an old farmhouse in the middle of a hill with no neighbors. It had many rooms, a huge kitchen, and an unkempt garden full of poorly pruned rose bushes. After a long day of moving, they ordered pizza for dinner. When finished, Leonore went to sleep because she was very tired. Her room was not very big. It had a comfortable bed, a wooden table with a lamp, a mirror, and a ruinous wardrobe. It was painted yellow and had small flower borders in the corners. The first nights in an unfamiliar room can be difficult, and every time they moved houses, it was difficult for her to fall asleep. As always, her mother had left the light bulb in the hallway on for her to ward off all her fears. The first night she hardly slept. The creaking of the windows and the wooden floor continually woke her up. Leonore said to herself, "Sleep, sleep," but it was impossible. Instead, her mind wandered. Why do these old houses have to be so dark? She felt nervous because of the noise that the blinds made when they hit the windows. It was as if someone was scratching the glass to want to enter. 3 more days passed before she began to get used to the noises and managed to sleep all night in a row. Her mother had already started with the restoration work, and the house was all papered over, covered in plastic and newspapers. There were stairs and paint cans everywhere. Leonore dreamed of waking up to the aroma of coffee and toast, but instead she had to wake up to the smell of turpentine. On the 7th night, a loud noise startled her. That night was unusually cold. There was a storm and the old window had been blown wide by the strong gale. She pressed the switch on the lamp, but it didn't come on. The noise came again, this time from across the room. She got up running to go to the hall in search of her mother. And a clap of thunder, the small light bulb in the hallway burned out. With the palm of her hand extended on the wall, she began to walk to go to her mother. It was completely dark. "Mommy? Mommy!" After 2 steps, her hand collided with something. She touched it and shivered at once. It was like a lock of hair. A light lamp illuminated the room and she saw a boy of the same height in front of her. Paralyzed with fear, she couldn't react when he got close enough to part her hair with his cold fingers and whisper in her ear, "This house is mine. Get out of here if you don't want the same thing to happen to you that happened to me." She started running down the hall, screaming until she ran into her mother, who was also scared to death. "Have you seen it too?" Leonore asked. She nodded, looking into her eyes, and they didn't need more to leave the house immediately. They went out into the storm and walked without stopping. They returned at dawn, shivering and with wet clothes. They found everything just as they had left it, except for the mirror in Leonore's room. A lock of hair hung from one corner and the word "out" was etched into the glass. The family moved permanently to leave that nightmare behind. Leonore started classes at a new high school and had new friends. One day, the teacher gave them some old newspapers for an activity. The girl gasped when, on one of the covers, she saw a photograph of her old house with the boy's photo once again under a headline. "Young man appears dead under strange circumstances." If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!